This video is for my new followers. I've gotten a few in the last while, and I've been getting a lot of questions on my machines. So Jack, why do you like old machines? Well, I'm going to go over, and everybody's got machines to compare with. This one's a bobbin sander that I think is probably the best designed bobbin sander of the classic machines. That's a 9-inch bobbin. And so let me go around with a handheld here and talk to you about what we're looking at and what exactly it means to look for very high quality in machines. Now, some would say that the master King Collins, right, made the best spindle molder because it has a tilting arbor. Okay, this one has a tilting arbor, but the tables tilt. What the Masters doesn't have is a rise and fall, and so that's a great feature, but you can't use all of the spindle. So let me go over how the spindle on the RY, is it the RY? Geez, I can never remember, right? Tag is it's a JY, okay? Fairly early number, okay? And so it's three-phase, of course. All of these are three-phase. We don't have loose pieces on this. This comes out of a solid spindle, which is part actually of the motor. The motor is the spindle, and the spindle is 1.25 inches. You can see it's 9 inches tall. Now, what's really interesting with this one is, you can see this little line right here? This is a little oil trough. This little bucket here fills with oil, and there's little felt wicks that go back into these ways. And when the motor goes up and down because it oscillates, it splashes those wicks and they zigzag down, and they'll come, and you can see them when they're running. You want to see, just like every British automotive machine, if it's not leaking oil, it's not properly lubricated. It needs to leave oil spots on the floor. That's every British car, every British thing. Now at the end of the shaft, it has a soak pit for the bronze gears in the back that isolate that whole motor, the rise and fall of that 9-inch piece. And once again, that stays fixed. And that motor pushes off and causes the oscillation. So the end of the motor makes the oscillation, and the motor shaft makes those. Now, they're all keyed in, they're steel. These ones are wrap your own paper, okay? But I made a bunch of different sizes. And then for smaller ones, I can bolt these on top. And we have a little table up there you can drop on top, and you'll have a little sub table. So that's basically how it deals with it, okay? You can see that it'll run a fairly large one. So you could make a 6-inch, no problem. It's a 1.5 horses, so that's plenty. It's a pattern maker's, and so it has a gauge. You notice that it will go to, what does it say, 30 something degrees in one direction and only 10 in the other. That's because these were done for draft. But here's a really cool thing. This is your 90-degree stop. So you can adjust all that so that when you unlock, this is your table, right? When you unlock, you see you can rotate that into a key, and now you can go beyond the 0. But if you want to come back, you just come back like that. It touches, and now you're right back on 90. And that holds very good. This is your rise and fall. The rise and fall is very easy to use while the machine is running, because you can sort of gauge the rise and fall to allow the motor to actually lift and lower by giving it a turn when it's in the motion of the motor. I'll see if I can show you that while it's running. The other fabulous feature here is this. So this whole table has this little outfit, and there you can see the arrangement here. You can see that there's a slit. Sorry, see the slit back here? That's actually air casted into the table, comes out here. And so this becomes air right at the table. And, you know, I've made rings for different stuff, right? Okay, so that's basically it. So I'll turn on. That's the rotary phase. And we'll listen to it. Very quiet machine. Okay, very smooth. So you can see what it's doing here. So riding up and down. So see, we can lower it. And what's good is, as I said, if you do it, while you're doing it, you can expose better paper. Okay? Well, it's any oil in there, but it's fine. This, my friends, is why I like old machines. They're like unbelievably cool. Okay? But just the quality you can get off of this is crazy. I showed some of you guys doing pattern sanding, and so pretty cool. The Wadkin JY, which had a number of features change. Used to be a slit in the table. There used to be all kinds of things. This, I think, is perhaps one of the best, if not the best, spindle sander ever made in the classic range. And this particular model, most people bought the big disc sander with this on the back, the 30-inch with the bobbin disc sander. But there she is. Can you hear that? I guess, you know, I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't go grab something. Now, I don't got the sand. I don't got the dust collector hooked up, right? Beautiful machine. One of my favorite, the Wadkin JY.